That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, we are going to continue to talk about the 2022 class of running backs. And I know that I talked about the reason why I'm kind of going through this class is, one, y'all kind of killed the YouTube comment section begging for me to do this. And also selfishly for the original Flock Patreon League, where that league is a Devy league where you draft players that are still in college. And usually I wait a little bit. I wait until we get closer to the Devy draft before I do my research diving into these guys. But I figured might as well start doing it now. And I know we've had some questions of y'all asking how you can get in that original Flock Patreon League. And I'll say, I think we should have like 3 spots open. It's a 16-team league. That is points per carry, that is Superflex, that is Devy, that is tight end premium. I mean, it's an extremely interesting format. And I actually took down the title last year. I came from the 6th spot in the playoffs, and I have no idea how we did it, but we went on a run, even with Michael Thomas severely disappointing. But anyway, I think we should have a few spots open. Interestingly, I think the best thing to do, because that league is very special, is just to kind of do it as a giveaway. I know we've never done a giveaway before, but league dues in that league are $100. And I think what we may do is instead just pick 3 or 4 random people from Patreon and say, hey man, you can have a free spot in the league, take over this team. I will cover your league dues. I'll pay the 100 for you. So I know we've had some people asking us to do jersey giveaways and such. I think maybe that will be a little bit more interesting if we just give away those spots in the original Flock Patreon Dynasty League. So yeah, let me know in the comment section. Let me know on Patreon if that's something that y'all would like me to do. Right now, I don't have the locked in number on how many open slots there will be. But once we have that, let me know if y'all want me to do a giveaway. Okay, and that's it. Let's get into this video. Let's talk about these running backs. And our first guy that we are going to be talking about is currently playing at Iowa State. And this is going to be Breece Hall. Now, if you look across the internet right now, pretty much you're not going to find anybody playing Devy, anybody that's doing real life NFL mock drafts that has any running back outside of Breece Hall at that #1 spot. And it's because he checks like every single box. He was a 4-star prospect coming out of high school. And I will say, the running back position is the one position where high school recruit rank actually matters. And I know this is surprising. Maybe some of y'all have heard me talk about this before. But a few semesters back, I actually had to do like a research paper through the course of a semester for my biostatistics class. And what I ended up doing is, of course, doing something with fantasy football. And it was the time of the Dynasty offseason. So I wanted to go through and I wanted to see, especially for these Devy leagues, if we can take anything away and if we can say that high school recruit rank is correlated to NFL success. And what we found is at the running back position, it actually is. I mean, at the running back position, you see time and time again the guys that were 5-star, 4-star prospects turning into the Najee Harris, the Travis Etienne, the Ezekiel Elliott. Whereas at the wide receiver position, it's literally completely random. There is no correlation at all. I mean, a player that's perfect example to talk about this would be like a Dorial Green-Beckham, who was a 5-star guy coming out, and everybody loved him, Devy, but he ultimately failed. And if you look at a large sample over the past decade, usually the running backs that are that elite level prospect going into college go to the better programs, they get the opportunity, and they're drafted highly in the NFL draft. So you like to see Breece Hall and his 4-star prospect recruit ranking. But what we like to see more is we like to see the fact that he has the size to be a 3-down running back. And he actually finished 6th in 2020 Heisman voting. And let's go through what he's been able to do at the NFL level so far. I'm sorry, the college level so far. And in the Big 12 in 2019, he averaged 15 carries a game, close to 100 total yards a game, 2 receptions, and finished the season with 10 total touchdowns. So obviously this is an extremely impressive season from a true freshman player. And you rarely ever see a true freshman coming in and averaging 2 receptions a game right away at the running back position. So that's also something that you love to see. And in 2020, Breece Hall comes out and just completely takes his game to a new level, where he is averaging 23 carries a game, close to 150 total yards, 2 receptions a game, and had 23 total touchdowns. So Breece Hall, I want to say that he's right up there in that Najee Harris rank of running backs. Obviously, you're going to have to wait another year for him to come out. But right now, he is definitely looking like he's going to be the #1 overall running back. And now, I know I said that he was the unquestioned #1 running back, but this next guy, I think maybe some people will have some arguments for. I just don't want to hear them. And this is going to be Isaiah Spiller at Texas A&M. And very similar to Breece Hall, I mean, he had the hype coming out of high school where he was a 4-star prospect. And more importantly, he has the size. He's 6 foot, 220 pounds, still 19 years old, so he's going to be extremely young at the time of the NFL draft, and we know that's also very important. And his true freshman year and his true sophomore year were very, very solid. I don't want to say they were spectacular. They weren't Breece Hall level, but his true freshman year, he averaged 90 total yards a game, 2 receptions a game on 13 carries. And in 2020, he was able to bump that up to 19 carries a game, over 120 total yards a game, and 2 receptions. Now, he's not necessarily racking up as many touchdowns as we saw with Breece Hall, but he has the size to do so. We know that he is a goal line running back, so that's not a concern in the slightest. And also, you definitely prefer to see the running back coming out of the SEC versus the running back coming out of the Big 12. All right, so now our next player is playing for Notre Dame. He was also a 4-star guy. He's 20 years old. He has the size. This is Kyron Williams. And in 2019, his true freshman year, we really didn't see him get to play, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me. I mean, I don't know who at Notre Dame was blocking him getting on the field. But in 2020, he kind of came out of nowhere where he had an extremely impressive season where he was able to go out there and he was able to average 17 carries, 3 receptions, 120 total yards, and 14 total touchdowns. And if you look at him, what was most special about Kyron Williams is the fact that once he gets in the open field, it is extremely hard to take him down. And he finds himself in the open field very often with his receiving game capability. And we definitely like to see the 3 receptions a game. I think that kind of makes him stand out from the rest of the crowd here at the running back position. Except our next running back, who was actually able to also average 3 receptions a game, and this is going to be Eric Gray at Oklahoma University. Another 4-star prospect, another prospect standing at 5'10", 200 pounds. And I want to kind of put a disclaimer out here saying that all these measurements I'm giving you right now, they are reported by the players, they are reported by the schools, they are not official measurements in the slightest. They are going to be drastically different than what we see at the NFL Combine next year. Obviously, we're hoping that these players were able to gain weight from the time that they got to, just say, Oklahoma University in the case of Eric Gray. So please don't hear this size and take it as it's 100% valid. But anyway, with Eric Gray, kind of similar to Williams, I mean, he did not necessarily get on the field his true freshman year where he only averaged 8 carries a game, 1 reception. I mean, he was impressive with the touches that he saw, getting 50 total yards a game and 5 total touchdowns. But in 2020, very similar to these other guys, I mean, he was able to take the step up. He was able to bump it up to 17 carries a game, 3 receptions, and over 110 total yards. Okay, so now our last player that we are going to be talking about is going to be another SEC guy. This time only a 3-star prospect, but he has a ton of weight going with him. And this is Kevin Harris, who's standing at 5'11" and 230 pounds. And as a 3-star prospect, he really wasn't able to get on the field in 2019, but in 2020, he came out and was very impressive for the level of competition that he was playing. He had 18 carries a game, 2 receptions, 130 total yards, and 16 total touchdowns. So I will say Kevin Harris is not necessarily someone that I am as eager to draft as I am with the other players on this list, but he is someone that we need to bring up regardless. All right, so let's call that the list. Let's go through, and instead I want to just make sure that we are putting out a disclaimer for anybody who made it this far in the video. Guys, understand that all of these players still have a year left to go, and what we see every single season is some running backs, some wide receivers, some quarterbacks, whoever it is, that are extremely impressive after their freshman, after their sophomore years, and we want to come out here and already crown them as the next great thing in Dynasty. And then we see their next season, and maybe they don't even get injured. Maybe it's just a disappointing year. Maybe it's a severe injury that knocks them down drastically in fantasy rankings. And we see this every single time. The perfect example is Chuba Hubbard was a lot of people's #1 running back going into last year. He was actually one of the favorites in Heisman odds at the beginning of the season. And now, yeah, I mean, he's completely fallen off the earth. We know that Bryce Love was a very similar situation in Stanford a long time ago. So please understand, guys, that while, yes, we can get excited about these players, we still have a decent amount of the process that they still need to go to. So let's just keep it rational. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton, and I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.